Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
Georgy, hi. Thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you whenever you are available in Georgia about Maib, about Georgian and Moldovan business and banking sector in general.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me. And it's always a pleasure to be here and speak with you on the same.
Georgy, let's begin by discussing 2023 year, which was very interesting, very different from other years. It was similar for, in a way, similar for Georgia, Moldova, and global banking sector because we had high interest rates, we had high inflation, even though it's a bit better than it was in 2022, but still very high, historically high interest rates in the US, in the EU, etc. Based on all that and political factors such as Georgia receiving EU candidacy and Moldova starting accession negotiations with the EU, how good of a year, or how bad, what sort of a year was it for Maib 2023?
Sure, yeah, you said correctly. I think the 2023 was not very easy year, clearly, especially the start of the year with the high prices on energy and the related inflation and so on. However, I think it revealed even more opportunities for Moldova, and if we speak about Moldova, with the fact that it went to the accession negotiation stage with EU, which makes Moldova closer to EU, which actually creates access to additional funding to the country. It makes the environment more predictable. So I think overall the year was more with the opportunities for Moldova, especially if we look to the long term. From the perspective of the economy, I think the GDP for 2023 is forecasted to be around 1 and 1.5%, still positive, despite the very bad start or very challenging start in the first half of the year. And then it also created quite good foundation for 2024 growth, which is expected to be between 4 and 4.5. Inflation now is about 6%. The base rate is already around 4.75%. So all these numbers basically say that 2024 will be very positive.
What does EU accession negotiations mean for Moldovan banking sector and Maib in general, in terms of the cost of lending, for example, in terms of different parameters that you as a bank manager look at?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the first of all, Maib, or the banking sector, is the reflection of the economy. Obviously, you select the industries that are more reasonable from risk and reward perspective, but overall, the banking sector is still the part of the economy. And what the accession means for the economy is super many things. I think the predictability of the economic environment, access to up to 500 million stable, wealthy market. Moldova already exports 60 to 70% of its goods to Europe. Similar is the share of EU in import of Moldova. About 1.5 million Moldovans have European passports. So that means that on the ground, day by day, the integration is happening in parallel of the official process. From the perspective of accessibility of the financial resources as well, we just saw the few countries, and then if you use the Montenegro example, Moldova can access up to even 5 billion euro during this period of time. Now, obviously, this is not guaranteed. Again, if you use the Montenegro example on the same, this is a big number. So this economic well-being, the predictability, the growth, especially in the long term, and stability of the country is, of course, then is reflected in our customers, our ability to grow and so on. In addition, you are right, it has the direct impact on cost of capital, direct impact of liquidity and so on. Some more numbers on Moldovan banking sector. It's very resilient, very well capitalized, and with a very strong liquidity. And if you take the capital adequacy or liquidity numbers, it's the best across Eastern European and post-USSR countries. And this, coupled with very low penetration of the banking sector, creates lots of confidence and room for the growth of Moldovan banking sector.
What is Maib's market share as of now?
Well, if we speak about the loans, it's about 39%, 40% of market share. So it's quite big.
In terms of deposits, roughly?
In terms of deposits, it's about 35. I mean, it's
still high. All right. Back in 2021, when you became the CEO of Maib, you had this vision that you've been executing ever since, which rests on roughly 4 pillars. One is digital transformation, regional expansion, development of banking products based on the customer, and IPO. I'll ask you about IPO and regional expansion separately. Let's focus on digitalization first. How is it going? If you could share some statistics of, for example, different segmentation of population that you are entering through digitalization, and in general, how is this process going within Maib?
Yeah. So very good question, and yes, I think we have impressive results from the perspective of how the transformation is going and what are the actual financial or operational metrics as a result. We did, if we start with our, let's say, market position during these 3 years, our market position has been significantly strengthened. So we had 5 percentage point increase in retail loans market share and 15 percentage point increase in business loan market share. So basically,
what period?
Out of the 3-year strategy that you said. So 15. So I mean, we created another big bank. We may say this. We reached around 1 million customers this year. In terms of profit, it grew about 2.7 times, for example, if you exclude COVID year, but then if you include the growth, is even higher. Then from the perspective of digitalization, I think the numbers that we are very proud of is that firstly, each quarter the digital banking users grow 50% year on year, and 50% of our loans and 60% of our deposits are granted through mobile banking. So this is quite an impressive number in our reality. And we are still the bank with the large corporate loan book, SME loan book, and so on. So what I'm saying is that we are not neobank only with digital services. So this is very important. We did complete the first phase of transformation in agile banking mode, being inspired from many banks who've done it very well, starting with ING, and we've been learning much how ING did it and visiting the ING and so on. It significantly increased the customer experience, the employee engagement, and significantly reduced the time we need to deploy new product on the market. We went to new head office, which is a real landmark in the country and in the city, with the more open, agile style. So that basically further strengthens our culture. We changed the models of customer relationship in all the branches, like literally all the branches now operate with a new customer engagement model, like one-stop shop, with more focus on sales, consultancy, advisory activities. And we rebranded the bank and the branches, and then they are very nice and appealing on the streets and so on. And what's also very important, we just launched new ESG strategy, which with our international financial partners, and it step by step we will be doing even more on ESG front as well. So the transformation has been really impressive, and I would say better than we initially expected.
Part of the transformation consists of transforming bank into super app. which is a strategy that many companies are employing in the world, and they take different approaches. What approach is Maib taking in this regards, or if I phrase my question in different words, what are the areas that are included in the super app that you're going to launch soon, probably, in the first at this moment, and what are the areas that you would like to add in the future, and what are some statistics if you could share?
Yes, by the end of first half, we have the ambition to launch the first version of the super app. It will be firstly focused on daily operating products and services that our customers need, both from banking and non-banking products, even though we do have the housing ecosystem and automobiles ecosystem, and maybe we will have some links or some space from housing ecosystem in the super app, but mostly it will be focused on daily operations, some government services, some insurance, and then it will evolve as the customers' needs will evolve on this regard.
Is super app part of your regional expansion strategy as well? And let's talk about regional expansion. Okay, let's start with an IPO. You know, IPO is a big part of your strategy, and as I understand, and as I read in the Maib's financial statement, the latest financial statement, IPO process has been stalled due to some regulatory details that need to be changed in Moldovan regulation. First of all, could you expand on what are the challenges that exist now, and what is the potential time frame for an IPO?
Yeah, so regional, let's call it expansion or regional offering. So basically, about 1.5 million Moldovans have European passport, and then we really want to approach them with our digital product and services. And maybe towards the end of the next year, we will have the first steps towards this direction. And this is a significant opportunity for us for the further growth. With regards to IPO, I think the very good news is that despite the regional context and the challenges, we have generated very strong interest on our IPO. And then some of the very top tier funds, they even want to act as the anchors, and then they have committed to this process. And this is very good news, basically for Moldova, for banking sector, for Maib. And then when the largest bank does IPO, we've been saying this, it acts as the gateway to bring more investors to the country, to position the country correctly to the most reputable, most well-known, most successful capital market investors all over the world. So this is big for the country, and then we've generated this interest. There is a law which needs to be changed for IPO to become practical. The law currently requires all the investors buying more than 1% to go through approval process, and clearly this is not practical. And then we need to see when this law will be changed. From today's perspective, it's difficult to tell you whether it will be changed in 1 month or 1 year, but it's going towards that direction. In fact, EU integration also implies that directly means that this law will be changed, because, for example, this threshold in the EU is about 10% in most of the countries. So step by step, we will see the improvement there.
Why did you decide to make initial public offering on the Bucharest Stock Exchange and not, for example, London Stock Exchange, which is the hub for European IPOs in general, and especially you had experience with TBC Bank doing an IPO in London as well?
Yeah, indeed, good question. So I think if we go to Bucharest, we have pool of Bucharest-based Romanian investors which can invest in Bucharest, but they cannot invest in London. Whereas London-based or international investors, an absolute majority of those investors can invest in Bucharest. If we go to London, so we will lose this very important investor base. Therefore, Bucharest is our natural choice. The other factors are the size, which is more appealing in Bucharest, than the technical listing process, which is easier in Bucharest, which may allow you to list Moldovan shares as opposed to, let's say, GDRs or Topco and so on. But I think the biggest advantage for us in Bucharest is the pool of very important Bucharest-based investors.
Do you think Maib will make IPO before June 2024 when you won't be CEO of the bank anymore?
Before June 2024, no, it's not realistic. Again, very difficult to tell you the timeline, but June 2024 is not realistic.
All right. So in December 2023, it became known that you will not be anymore the CEO of Maib after June 2024. First of all, why did you make this decision?
Well, I think the transformation first phase is nearing the end, and it has always been a temporary engagement, and that was the main driver of the decision. We did announce it well in advance so that we have the time to make a proper transformation to new person, etc. So that was the thinking behind. It's still early. I think we still have whatever number of months left to say specifically things, but yeah, that was the.
Do you have any offers yet? Do you know where you're going to be heading after Maib?
Yes, some of them with similar roles in the region or beyond, but I think it's again still very early. Then also we also need to see how my IPO plans evolve, where we go, and then I mean maybe in 3-4 months it will be more easier to comment on this question.
All right, we as BMG will definitely reach out to you in roughly that period to be the first ones who get this information. And thank you very much for your time, for your interview, and good luck to you personally and to Maib and Moldovan and Georgian banking sectors in general.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.